This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Oh, when'd you guys get here? Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live! It's a freaking Thursday. Trying to pack a bowl over here. I see Byronic's already redeemed the weed. I was in the weed store today. I was like, give me some bottom shelf and give me some exotic. It was the top shelf. They're like, you want some of the bottom? And I was like, yeah, they redeem the thing on stream a lot, make me take bong rips, so I'll smoke the bottom while I'm on stream. Save the good for afterwards. And this is, it looks bad. It looks bad. I haven't had weed like this in a long time. Take me back to high school. Carla, Byronic, Julie, Me Cakes. Holiday, good evening, friends. Welcome in. Ounces for 50? Damn, I spent about 60, I think it was 65 for an eighth of the top shelf and an eighth of the bottom shelf. So I got a quarter of two different types. I don't even remember. I feel like they told me what they were, and I didn't pay attention. CJ, welcome in. Good to see you. Is everything going all right? Are you lagging behind? It's telling me I'm dropping frames, but it's also telling me that my internet is way beyond perfect, so I don't know. Are you a little behind? Light one up, tip one back. Okay, we good. It's just wigging out down here. That doesn't taste good. The other shit actually tasted really good. Also, after walking across town, came back soaking fucking wet in sweat. I showered, shaved, looked like a human being. Walked to the store. Yeah, honestly, Fembox, it's surprising. DJ Dub, Fembox, welcome in. Good evening. Don't forget to join us this weekend. Meat Cakes. As far as I know, I'm still gonna do WrestleMania 17. I think I'm still thinking I'm gonna do WrestleMania 17. But here's what as I was compiling my best of WrestleMania for the week before WrestleMania, the list became too fucking long for one night. So I've had the idea that I might have to not do WrestleMania 17, do 2 nights of best of WrestleMania. But I really want to watch WrestleMania 17. We got cut off from watching The Rock and Stone Cold at the end there. The whole show would be really cool. I think that's the gimmick battle royal. It's Undertaker and Triple H. Me Case is like, no, do 2 nights of best of. Well, I was thinking, like, even if I can't trim it down, I might come on at like 420 the week before WrestleMania. If you guys would like that, and we'll do best of WrestleMania, and I'll try not to cut anything. But I mean, if we just do Hogan, Andre, Macho Man, and Ricky Steamboat, that's an hour right there. With all the pomp and pageantry, the entrances, the build-up and everything, that's an hour right there, just 2 fucking matches. But those are 2 matches that, like, I feel like I got to play one or the other, but I don't know that I could separate either, because both of them, like, if you're not familiar with WrestleMania, you need to watch both those matches. I don't know. Meat Cake says 2 nights of best of WrestleMania, so we might go with that. I'll see how I'm feeling when we get to Saturday. Tomorrow night, Total Request freaking live. Curiouser wants me to call it Troll Request live because it's TRL. But I'm like, then people are going to be coming in just giving us anything and not necessarily music videos. They're just going to come in and like try to troll us. I don't know that that's what we want. So thoughts on that? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Shit. We've got a lot of news to cover tonight. News be doing stupid shit. Trump tariffs send the stock market into free fall. You're gonna hear me. You guys may not know this, but I like golf. And I don't know that I've ever talked about this on the Troll Patrol. I may have 2 or 3 years ago, when it was really a hot topic. It's becoming a hot topic again. The Saudis started their own golf league, and they poached a lot of talent from the PGA, and now, like, they have an offer to buy the PGA, and the PGA is not wanting to merge. Trump is endorsing a merger, and I'm sure that Trump probably stands to benefit from this somehow. He is arriving at his Doral golf course for the LIV event this weekend, and has announced that Saudi Arabia will be one of his first trips abroad. I think his second. That will be his second trip abroad. Newsmax shares were briefly higher than Fox News before they dropped precipitously. I think 80% is what it ended up closing at. Sounds like a pump and dump to me. Tim Kaine drafting a bill to undo the tariff action that Trump took. We're going to talk about all the different ways, including like the ways that the tariffs might be good. Here's the thing. My lord, welcome in. Thank you for the resub. Come here and prove them stupid fuckers. Flash, welcome in. Princess Gibberly. Samson. Good evening, friends. Light one up, tip one back. Elon Musk out. Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer is in. Do you remember back in 2020 when Trump caught COVID and we were on Trump? Hold on. I haven't used it. It's not in my repertoire. I gotta go find it. Oh shit. Usually it takes me to my folder that's, where all my other graphics are, but it just took me straight to my C drive. It's not going to be worth the effort. It's not going to be worth the effort once I get to it. Warlord, welcome in. On-screen graphics. I think we're in the T's. No. Oh my God, did I delete it? Delete it? I got Biden. I got Jill Biden. I think I deleted Trump dies of COVID watch. Why would I do that? Why would I have Biden? Maybe I never thought I'd have to deal with Trump again. Okay, just imagine that this is Trump here.
Biden dies of COVID watch.
Why are you coming in here dropping slurs? You know better than that, Warlord. It's probably somewhere. I just don't have it in the right spot. That's my bad. Listen, earlier today, I went over to the Midas Touch. I went over to the Midas Touch stream. So they had Michael Cohen out here doing the stream. I'm like, what up, Cohen? Is there even a mod ever here? I'm going to go ape in the Midas Touch Twitch chat. No one can stop me. The other people did show up eventually. And then I left a good promo for the Troll Patrol. It's like, you guys would enjoy the Troll Patrol. Come by, find out what that news be doing. Oh, goddamn. Here is your meme of the day. Look at you. All y'all motherfuckers ended up in NA, didn't you? Dip, good evening. Oh, I didn't even mention. Dip, is that what you're talking about? I got sidetracked and didn't even mention why I was looking for Trump Dies of COVID Watch. Back when we were on Trump Dies of COVID Watch, the doctor that probably saved his life, maybe saved his life, has been fired from the HHS. Ari, welcome in. Good evening. Listen, I used to wear my Dare shirt while buying drugs. I had one that had like the county sheriff's department. And like I'm like there with my drug dealer. I'm working for a radio station at the time, so I have all these fucking cop shirts and shit. So I'm like, it's got Dare on the front, and it's got like a cop car, and on the back of it, it has like the sheriff's badge. It says the sheriff's office and everything. And I'm like buying pills from a dealer. Because I wore it ironically. It was like my day off or some shit. Some dude comes in and is like, is that a narc? And like, dude's like, no, that's Justin. That's Justin. You leave him alone. Warlord says to stop doing drugs. Dip, who's doing the news here? Me or you? Apparently, you and Warlord, you guys take over the show. I'll hang back. I'll smoke some weed. Who's driving this car here? I'm sorry. I'm just busting your balls. Hey, that's a good idea. Flash, why don't you start doing some of them drugs? Remember, kids. I love how Flash over here, no relation to the crown whatsoever, is just adamant that if he got high enough, would go over and take out the royal family. I love it. I love it. My lord, you always bust my balls. That's why I love having you here. I love having my balls. Wait a minute. No, I didn't. Not figuratively. Figuratively. I love ragging on people. I love roasts. I thought it was funny when Destiny called me retarded. Apologies. I try to curb my usage of the word. I don't use it as a slur myself very often. Usually it's if somebody calls me that as a slur, I usually come back at them or some shit like that. If I can affect a little bit of change in the world by simply changing my vocabulary, words that bring people harm, then why the fuck wouldn't I? But for some reason, some dipshits don't have that fucking view. But they get really upset about their feelings. You start calling them names, they get really, really anxious about it. Thank you, Byronic. The irony alone is funny. But like, and how did I not even, that was a layup for me. We were there debating whether Destiny was a sophist and he calls me a retard right at the beginning of the thing. What in the shit? I'm just so because okay, here's the thing. For those of you that's never heard me do the breakdown, like when I went into that, if you have seen it and you don't know what I'm talking about, Carpe, welcome in. Yes, we have covered that extensively. I'm doing the news. Okay. So I go into this. I didn't know I'm a last minute replacement. Like they didn't have somebody to fill out the panel on the Wick TV, right? I bust Wick's balls all the time. Wick knows nothing about me. Wick knows absolutely nothing about me or my shtick. Has no idea who I am, apparently. But because, like, I was busting his balls in Destiny, invited me to come on. I was like, yeah, I'll come on and call Destiny a stupid fuck. I love to do that. I didn't know that Destiny was actually going to be there until just a couple of hours before, and I still wasn't really sure until I saw the motherfucker. And I went into it like I'm going to smoke a shit ton of pot. I have a tendency sometimes to get worked up and like be very vocal and loud and run people over. That's actually the Justin that was needed in the situation I was in. I didn't realize that. And I'd even talked to Curiouser right before I did it. And I'm like, I'm just going to get stupid high. I'm going to sit back and I'm not going to do anything but try to land a few jokes. That's all I'm going to try to do out of this debate. Because I don't know shit about Destiny. I don't know. I don't watch his shit. Don't know fuck all about him. The only clip I think I had saw at the time was like him and Ryan Grimm and the cookies thing. If you want to see that stream as an L, then like go for it. I'm totally cool with that. I'll take that one as an L. There's several of my L's floating around out there. I got on and tried to debate people before I actually started doing the Troll Patrol, and a couple of them I do not look good at all. But like you gotta practice before you're good at something. T-, welcome in. Who else snuck in here on me? Josephus. Apparently he was on speed. That's the thing. Curiouser, welcome in. One more hit and then we'll get to the news because we're running late. Did everyone see the trailer for The Naked Gun? Because I didn't know I needed that in my life. I did not know it's not a reboot, it's a sequel. Josephus, did you see it? Fuck! I think that 1 minute trailer was funnier than all of those fucking movies combined. And I love the original movies. Can I show the trailer? Do I get copyright stroke? Fuck it. Let's do it. We'll show the trailer. Everybody want to see the trailer? It's like the first thing that popped up for me this morning. Because I love the TV show. I love the movies. I recently rewatched the second one, and it doesn't hold up as well. It's nowhere near as good. When I was a kid, I thought it was my favorite. So yeah, and I was skeptical. I'm like, fuck, don't touch The Naked Gun, but goddamn, watch this shit.
SWAT units responding to hostage situation.
Hey, little girl, stop! What do you want, little one?
Your ass.
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast.
Who are you?
Frank Drebin, Police Squad. The new version.
That's the sound of the police.
Hi, Daddy. It's me, Frank Jr. Love you.
Hey, Dad. Boy, do I miss you.
Sound of the police. Say see ya, 'cause I would never be ya.
Excellent. So into it. Avalon, good evening. Airplane's really good. The first Naked Gun is good. Progressive Squirrel. You guys need to watch Files from Police Squad. If we wrap up early, which it doesn't look like we're going to, we'll watch a couple of Files from Police Squad. I've got it handy. We can watch the TV show. It is fucking hilarious. Just in the last couple of hours, Trump arriving in Florida at his Doral golf course. There's actually nothing to this. This is just him landing. This is going to get more high. Let me back another one. Oh yeah, pilot, great job. Great job, pilot. Tadpole, welcome in. I know, it's so dumb. Why am I even doing it? Because I want to smoke some more pot. Well, this is Florida. He probably went to Mar-a-Lago and helicoptered over to Doral. I don't actually know where Doral is. Oh, there's that one congressperson I thought was Bobby Lashley that one time, I think. Maybe it's a Secret Service agent, and I think he's that congressperson. Because I keep confusing bald black men that are muscular. Because I'm a racist. And this is, once again, he's arriving at the LIV tournament. There are golfers from all over the world coming here. The Saudis are hosting it. I bet this is a security fucking nightmare. Can you imagine how much money this costs taxpayers? He is arriving at Doral Golf Course to meet. I don't know if Prince Bonesaw is there, but I wouldn't doubt it. This is what Trump is doing right now. I did play this for a reason. Arriving at Doral Golf Course as the country is apparently in free fall. Mass layoffs already happening. The stock market took significant losses today. Apparently the worst day since the COVID pandemic.
Good afternoon from New York. We're coming on the air with breaking news about an exceptionally brutal day on Wall Street. President Trump's tariffs sparking a huge sell-off today, sending all three major markets plunging. The trading day there, you're hearing the bell ringing. It's closing. The free fall comes after the president's announcement yesterday to slap reciprocal tariffs on global trading partners. Let's look at the final numbers now on Wall Street. The Dow losing almost a little over 4% of its value. The S&P 500 losing about 5%. The NASDAQ down about 6%. Let's go to Christine Romans right now, who is at the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay, so I looked it up last night because I was curious. I asked the question. I was like, did other countries have tariffs on our goods? Basically what the EU had, this is the only one that, like, you know, I could find a definitive answer for, but this is what I really wanted to focus on. The EU had basically about a 3% tariff on U.S. goods. That's all. That is all, and like I don't even know if all that, like, tariff, and like it varied depending on what the product was and shit. Like basically it was minuscule. So like, because he keeps saying reciprocal tariffs, but if you're unaware, he's not basing this on tariffs that other countries have on us. He's calling anything as that is a trade barrier or contributes to our trade deficit a tariff. They've come up with this wonky fucking number in order to be able to assess these. It was basically just taking our trade deficit and having it or some shit. It's absurd.
Christine, we've seen bad days on Wall Street before that in the final hour, suddenly the buying opportunities and everything seems okay. This isn't that.
This is not that. In fact, you did not get any of that late day buying, people trying to find a bargain. They don't think there are any bargains here, at least right now. 1,700 points almost on the Dow Industrials, almost 5% on the S&P 500. Those are big one-day moves. In fact, when you look at the move in this market today, we haven't seen a day like this in the S&P and the NASDAQ since March, early.
Yeah, to be clear, it doesn't affect me directly.
The entire global economy was shutting down, so that was the last time we saw a really tough day like that. Dow had,
it doesn't affect most of the people I know.
Because of really sky high
once again, we go over this. The stock market is just rich people's pills.
Among investors about what the president's tariff regime will mean for these companies and the big global supply chains that they depend on. Another average I like to look at is called the Russell 2000. That is 2,000.
Well, the tariffs affect you.
These are really the backbone.
I'm talking about specifically the performance of the stock market.
7% at one point, Lester.
All right, Christine, I'll ask you to stand by.
There's no tariff on weed. It's grown here.
He's in Doral.
The weed tariff.
The president is just about to land. Gabe, we're getting some mixed messages.
That is the thing. Here, the way stock markets affect people that I know is if, like, they have a retirement fund that is tied to stock market performance. That affects a percentage of people in my orbit. Probably not half of them, that's for fucking sure. But some people. And this is also an indication of how a poor performing stock market always correlates to layoffs. And that's going to have ripple effects through the economy. That's why I said this doesn't affect me directly.
All this.
But it does have effects and consequences.
For the last day or so, White House officials have been insisting that this change in tariff policy is not a negotiation. And yet, a short time ago, President Trump telling reporters that he wants the rest of the world to try and make a deal. Now, as you said, he is heading here to Florida, to his Doral Golf Club. But as he departed Washington, he did speak to reporters a short time ago. Here's what he said.
The markets are going to boom. The stock is going to boom. The country is going to boom. and the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal?
And if you don't know what he's doing, he's basically using an extortion tactic. He's going to go one by one to these companies or these industries that he's wanting to pledge fealty to them and say that he'll lift these tariffs if, you know, they capitulate to whatever his wants are. This is such a fascist move. So as he goes and lifts the tariffs, he gets the capitulation from whatever company that he wanted to do whatever such a thing. And then the economy approves as he lifts the tariff, and he gets to take credit for it. That's the thinking from his side. Girl the Gray, welcome in.
They've taken advantage of us for many, many years. For many years, we've been at the wrong side of the ball, and I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be unbelievable. The thing that people have to talk about, we're up almost to $7 trillion of investment coming into our country, and you'll see how it's going to turn out. Our country's going to boom.
The president there in his role as cheerleader-in-chief trying to calm those markets. But Lester, yesterday I spoke to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and I asked him what he would tell Americans who are worried that they may pay more in the short term. He said that they weren't really sure what the price effects will be, essentially adding to this uncertainty. But White House officials say that this is all part of their plan, the realignment of global trade and to trust in Trump. Lester.
All right, thanks. Let me go back to Christine Romans again at the New York Stock Exchange. Christine, what does tomorrow and the day, next day, and the day after that look like here, assuming that these tariffs are laid in place?
Well, today the stock market lost $2 trillion in value. So you heard the president talk about the trillions will be coming in. Today, $2 trillion lost. And the big question is, will companies feel like there is certainty to make their investments? Will they be able to grow and move forward? Or are they going to be in a defensive crouch here and not spending money? That's when you start to see, you know,
a defensive crouch?
Potentially, some economists are saying, others are saying that we could skirt a recession. But certainly a lot of questions here about what this means for business spending and what it means for hiring in the months ahead.
Yeah, and Christine, it's been interesting to listen all day to what's coming from different countries, the language, the talk about retaliation, or in some cases, the lack of talk about retaliation.
Less things are coming from other countries because there's going to be a tariff on them. Shut the fuck up, Lester.
Is that the other big shoe to drop here as to what other countries will do in response to this?
Absolutely, because we have seen this before in a trade war when
I cracked myself up.
A shot, you know, another fires a shot back, and that could mean that U.S. products could be targeted. Really important exports that the U.S. has. You know, I'm thinking like pork and soybeans and so many tech services, and a lot of these places where the U.S. does run a big surplus. Those could be rich targets for some of these countries to try to prove a point that the U.S. isn't in here alone, that it is a global trading system.
All right, Gabe, let me ask you about how the White House has handled this. It seems that they have left at least some opening that this might have been a response in the market, but at the same time expressing this faith that this will cause companies to build and sell in America.
Yeah, that's right, Lester, and that is all part of the president's plan. And White House officials have been stressing that their goal is to get American manufacturing back here in the U.S. They say that businesses have been decimated over the last several decades. And Lester, this is something that President Trump was speaking about decades ago before he entered politics, speaking about this very thing. He repeatedly says that tariff is his favorite word in the dictionary, and the White House keeps...
Who says that shit?
This is something that he promised...
Tariff is my favorite word in the dictionary.
As a promise kept. Now, of course, a lot remains to be said.
Maybe some historical academic... Tariff is my favorite word. There's some fucking nerd at a college somewhere.
Seeing how this all plays out, but so far, the president shows no signs of backing off his policy, Lester.
Gabe Gutierrez, thank you very much, and Christine Romans as well. That concludes this NBC News.
Oh, shut the fuck up, Lester. Oh my God, they did it. I can't believe it. I was going to say, like, there's no way they put the title card of Lester after Lester.
Means for the
Dragonfly
tonight on Nightly News, and we continue our
welcome in
streaming channel NBC News Now. I'm Lester Holt in New York. Thank you for watching and good day.
I'm Lester Holt.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top.
Shut up, Lester.
NBC News app or.
I will forever take credit for bullying that motherfucker into retiring. You saw earlier Trump arriving at the Doral golf course in Florida that he owns. Where they were, that's another one of those conflict of interest things. There's so much of it, I didn't even think about that. It's another one of those conflict of interest things. They're hosting a golf tournament. A league hosted by or owned by the Saudis. As we're in these negotiations between the PGA and LIV. And Trump is hosting a tournament at a golf course he owns. That's got to be fucking illegal. But it doesn't matter. His supporters don't give a shit. The PGA Tour is standing firm on golf reunification despite Saudi Arabia's $1.5 billion offer. Golf has been left in limbo just days from opening major of season. PGA Tour deems PIF's demands unacceptable. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund has failed in an attempt to persuade the PGA Tour to deliver serious concessions in exchange for $1.5 billion investment, leaving elite golf no closer to reconciliation just days from the season's first major. The Saudis have been trying to extort the PGA. The PGA Tour's stance will give credence to the rising sense that the organization has increasing confidence in its position after a turbulent period caused by the formation of the Saudi-backed LIV Tour. Sources indicate that in correspondence sent to the PGA Tour last week, PIF sought assurances the LIV circuit could continue to operate, that its governor, Yasir al-Rumyani, yeah, I fucked it up. I'm sorry. Could take a place as co-chairman of PGA Tour Enterprises. In exchange, the PIF would invest $1.5 billion in PGA Tour Enterprises, the commercial entity created after peace appeared to have broken out in the summer of 2023. The $1.5 billion has been planned to match identical investment from the U.S.-based Strategic Sports Group. The PGA Tour replied to PIF's demands on Monday with neither deemed acceptable. Those with detailed knowledge of the situation stress reunification of golf is the PGA Tour's core aim, a matter that is hardly assisted by LIV continuing in its present form. There would also be understandable unease within the PGA Tour should Rumanian, whose organization has bankrolled LIV, be afforded such a prominent position as the breakaway tour continues on its own path. Donald Trump, the U.S. president, wants golf to come together, but if PIF sticks to its persistent standpoint, that feels highly unlikely. Trump is likely to appear at his Doral resort this week, where LIV is staging a tournament. As I said, seems highly fucking illegal. And I feel like all of this that I'm getting ready to tell you about is connected. Trump again says he wants to see PGA Tour LIV golf merged. He arrived at Doral on Thursday evening for the LIV golf event, apparently attending some sort of dinner. The president spoke out on the subject before, and Trump has been involved in some of the talks that may eventually unify the PGA Tour and the Saudi-funded LIV. Those talks have gone on for at least a year. Unfortunately, hopefully, the two tours are going to merge. That'll be good. I'm involved in that too. Trump told reporters on the flight to Miami. But hopefully, we're going to get the two tours to merge. You have the PGA Tour and the LIV Tour. And I think having them merge would be a great thing. Trump called the LIV golfers a roster that includes Brooks Koepka, Bryson. I have no people who. Phil Mickelson. That's a over the hill golfer. Some of the best players in the world. Announcing that one of his first foreign trips, the second foreign trip, will be to Saudi Arabia. Confirms he will travel to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE in the coming weeks. It'll be next month or maybe a little bit later, Trump said. Axios reported on Sunday that Trump plans to travel to Saudi Arabia in mid-May. Trump said he will also visit on his trip to Qatar, UAE, and other places outside the Middle East. Two U.S. officials said at the moment Trump doesn't plan to visit Israel on the trip. Trump's decision to go to Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar on his first foreign trip. Oh, shit, it's his first foreign trip. I think wasn't Saudi his first foreign trip last time? For some reason, I was thinking he had been to Israel already. Netanyahu came here. That's what it was. Trump's decision to go to Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar on his first foreign trip signals how close the relationship between this administration and the Persian Gulf countries has become, especially when it comes to economic cooperation and investment. That's the reason why we bombed the Houthis. The Houthis had a blockade on U.S. goods. We bombed them on behalf of Israel, Saudi Arabia. Let's go back to tariffs for a little bit. Senators reacting to... They seem exacerbated. Even the Republicans, they're like, God, this shit. Because they know.
Feeling about the tariff announcement from yesterday.
I was there. I'm excited. Here we have a president who gives a damn about American jobs. That's exactly what this is. I'm sick and tired of the rest of the world taking advantage of our workers and our companies. So the rest of the world, they want to put barriers up to our companies, which impacts American jobs. That
hot Houthi take. That sounds like a porn I would search for.
Has ended.
Ignoring the idea that there's been trillions of dollars in investment in the first 100 days. We're going to be building cars in this country. We're going to have people who have jobs building Honda vehicles, Mercedes-Benz. NVIDIA chips are going to be made here. Apple's making record investment.
They're paying more money now.
Well, listen, their interest rates are super high right now, too, because we're spending more. We're spending $2 trillion we don't have.
Ponder Monkey, welcome in.
Balance this equation. We actually have to make things. The idea that we can invent things in this country and never make them here is a ruse. So,
Trail, you too.
It doesn't have to be this way.
Good evening,
if
friends.
we're saying these countries, we're going to treat you like you treat us, just take down your trade barriers. Take down the tariffs that you have against us.
I think it's heading us toward a catastrophic economic downturn, a recession, along with disastrously rising prices. I'm seeing already my constituents in Connecticut fearful, angry, deeply troubled by potential job losses as well as higher prices.
My lord, as I understand, the U.S. can always make current generation chips, but the technology to make next generation chips is like exclusively with Taiwan. And that Taiwanese Taiwan has some sort of fucking quasi company government. It's weird. That the main industry is a public-private enterprise fucking shit. And that the U.S. can always make, we've got the technology to make the current gen shit, but the fabs that make the chips that are smaller than the current generation are always going to come from that one, we don't have that technology. That's a thing specific to that company in Taiwan.
For everything from gas to groceries.
President Trump's whole justification for slapping tariffs on our closest partners and allies is to bring manufacturing back to the United States. And at the exact time that he is harming our relationships around the world, making costs higher for working Americans, This program that
welcome in.
manufacturers grow.
Yes, TSMC.
They don't know what
That's my lord. Thank you. That's the quasi. It's a private enterprise, public investment fucking thing that is like almost a government in and of itself. It's wild.
Doing, and the consequences for our economy, for costs, for our families and communities will be harmful and lasting. Thank you.
Thanks.
Now there could be benefits to tariffs if done right, but as I suspect, it's economic blackmail on Trump's part. But in theory, tariffs could be a good thing. Sean Fain has praised Trump for his tariffs.
Tonight, 7 News reporter Michael Schwartz went to the Made in America store in Alma on their 15th anniversary in business.
It's a special day at the Made in America store in Elma.
I opened April 3rd, 2010 on a Saturday. It was almost 90 degrees. A little different weather, but beautiful day. Local beers.
A different climate 15 years ago for Mark Andel, owner of the Made in America store.
Yeah, thanks, Obama.
Major account to China with my general welding and fabricating.
As a business owner, the international logistic issues led him to open this store where he now sells 15,000 different products, 100% made in America. Yet none of them require batteries.
Not one item, 15 years of searching, not one item that takes a battery or plugs in. You know, with the different tariffs going on, it's going to make people focus on our country.
The new reciprocal tariffs just rolled out by President Trump.
No, Fain's a good one, Flash.
Reports from 1980.
You're thinking of Sean
I don't worry
O'Brien.
about shipping containers. I don't worry about tariffs. Buy made in America. I tell people you don't like tariffs, buy made in America.
Do you think that with the tariffs now, this could help push more to be made and sold in America?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, how can you not do that? I mean, a lot of these other countries are screaming bloody murder that, you know, it's going to affect them. Well, it should affect them.
Keeps American people working.
Always been a supporter of our country and what we can do to help our own. So
I doubt that.
Coming to Made in America, and the products are wonderful. It's nice to buy American.
This is going to make the consumer get a little more educated, see what's made in America. If it's not, I think somebody is going to be sharp enough. We've got some sharp people that can use new technologies to make products, and this is going to force that to happen, I truly believe.
Michael Schwartz, 7 News Elma.
Tariffs could be a good thing, you know, on certain industry. I don't think you need tariffs. I think you just create co-ops. I think the U.S. government, we have bailed out several companies, say, for instance, Ford. The U.S. government should just step in, take over Ford, let the workers run the fucking company as a co-op. That should have been what we did when we bailed out the automakers back in, 2007? Ford did pay the money back. Right? It was 2008 because it was Obama's policy that made sure they paid the money back. I think like the first tranche was Bush, and they did have to pay that shit back. Or some shit like that. It's a long time ago. Nationalize Amazon. Nationalize Walmart. Okay. Hear me out. The Walton family has gotten extremely fucking rich. Richer than anybody. All the fucking upper management. Just on another stratosphere of richness. By us subsidizing their workforce, Walmart employees, for the longest time, it might be Amazon now. I haven't checked. But for the longest time, Walmart employees were the biggest recipients of government benefits. It probably is Amazon now. Mao 2028. Mao Zedong said change must come. Change must come through the barrel of a gun. Not through talking, not through waiting and sitting around and contemplating on the facts, because you know what they are, so let Mao Zedong be your guiding star. Just saying. Didn't expect to hear that one out of the lib, did you? Here's a little schadenfreude from the stock market today. Newsmax shares plunged 80% after briefly being valued higher than Fox. Briefly, Newsmax was valued higher than Fox. Let me make this bigger. The MAGA cable channel Newsmax was briefly worth $30 billion. Wow. I really should rethink selling out. The MAGA cable channel Newsmax was briefly worth $30 billion this week before its share prices tumbled by 80% 3 days after its market debut. The company briefly had a market cap of $30 billion, surpassing Fox News by $5 billion. Until Wednesday's news. Yeah, I'll totally buy it with I think I got $40-50 in the bank. The company kicked off its initial public offering at $10 on Monday morning and began trading at $40. All my bills are paid. I've got food. I got weed. I'm good. That is literally living paycheck to paycheck. I get paid again on Tuesday. That's all right. And then, at some point in time, I get Twitch money. That comes in, the next week or two. Oh, my God. When they went public, apparently Rudy and the Newsmax crew got to ring the opening bell. Oh, that was today. That was this morning. Rudy got to ring the bell on one of the biggest sell-off days in history.
You think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
Well, the 5th, 6th biggest sell-off in history? Good job, Rudy. Tim Kaine. We know who Tim Kaine is. Did everybody watch the Saturday Night Live skit where he appeared? One of the best Saturday Night Live skits I've ever seen. Tim Kaine in the membrane. And the dude was like, well, he's not like Tim Waltz, who is memorable. And then, they showed pictures of him side by side. He's a guy exactly like Tim Waltz. As a VP candidate. He was funny on SNL, though. Democrats are going all in against President Donald Trump's new global tariffs, seeing a chance to keep driving a wedge in the Republican Party after 4 GOP senators defied Trump on his Canada tariffs. Tim Kaine told Semaphore on Thursday that he is drafting a plan to force a vote on nixing the national emergency Trump declared Wednesday. He absolutely should. That's what the Senate should do. I would like to see the Senate and the House do everything they can to take back power that has been usurped by the executive branch. And I can even encourage Republicans in doing this. This is the institutionalist in me here. I could, if Republicans want to come along, good on Mitch McConnell for joining Grassley, Maria Cantwell, who else was it? Oh, McConnell, Murkowski, and Rand Paul. So it was Chuck Grassley, Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, Rand Paul. Those are the 4. Oh, I got to see some juicy news about Mike Johnson here in a second. Not yet clear whether Kaine and Meeks would get even equivalent support to the quartet of Republicans who backed the Virginian similar resolution against Canadian tariffs on Wednesday night, but one senior congressional Republican is conspicuously on the record with his own tariff rebuke. Senator Chuck Grassley joined Senator Maria Cantwell to release a new bill that would require lawmakers to sign off on all new tariffs. Please, I am a firm believer that the power should be vested in Congress and the Senate. Both need reforms, specifically like filibuster reform in the Senate. But we need to return the power to the branches of government that are closer to the people. Another one of the reforms I want to see in the Senate is more senators. We need a senator from the state of Washington, D.C. We need a senator from the state of Puerto Rico. We need a senator from the state of Guam. I don't know that we don't need a rebalancing where some states get more senators than others. X amount of population, you get another senator. Civics is woke. That's just I've got woke banned because of fucking Bagheera. Most urgently, Democrats are plotting to force votes on tariff-related amendments to the Senate Republicans' budget resolution as soon as Friday. The treacherous new front in the Trump administration's so far successful push to align Republican lawmakers, typically staunch advocates of less restrictive trade, behind the president's aggressive tariffs as the stock market tanks, business groups revolt, and other countries plot retaliation. Democrats are hopeful to build on Wednesday's Canada vote, which attracted support from GOP Senators Susan Collins, Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, and Rand Paul. Speaking of civics, let's do some civics lessons, shall we? Did you know the First Amendment applies to everyone that is here in the country? There's been a lot of talk online about whether or not the Constitution only applies to citizens. Spoiler alert, it applies to fucking everyone. It applies to the migrants who crossed over. Even if they did it illegally, the Constitution applies to them.
The administration has made it clear they don't believe this right applies to everyone here in the U.S. Here's Vice President J.D. Vance last month. Now, this was before Rumeysa Ozturk was taken into custody.
American citizens have different rights from people who have green cards, from people who have student visas. And if the Secretary of State and the President decide this person shouldn't be in America and they have no legal right to stay here, it's as simple as that.
But according to experts on the First Amendment, it's actually not that simple.
Freedom of speech is the right to speak your mind.
Oh, it is simple.
Express yourself.
That's not the way he said it.
Is a First Amendment attorney.
It is a foundational freedom on which everything else depends.
And it's a freedom, he says, not just for citizens of the U.S., but for any person who is here, including non-citizens like Tufts PhD student Rumeysa Ozturk.
The Constitution and constitutional rights apply to any person present in the United States. A non-citizen cannot be deprived of her right to free speech without due process of law.
Ozturk's attorneys and the university say she was detained because of this op-ed she co-authored, accusing Israel of genocide in Gaza. The government hasn't offered more specifics, but Secretary of State Marco Rubio said this.
It's not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus.
Rubio says the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952 allows for the deportation of non-citizens if their presence has potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences.
That doesn't apply to a student who engages in speech that the government doesn't like. If they can show that a person on a student visa committed a crime, then that's a different matter.
Yes.
But they're not making that claim as to Rumeysa Ozturk. They're simply saying, we don't like your ideas. And that's different.
And your reaction to that?
The government has no business policing people's ideas. The government must allow freedom of speech to occur and cannot deport people based on their free speech.
And so with this question, does this kind of speech rise to a national security threat, as the Trump administration has suggested? Well, First Amendment attorneys say that will be decided by the courts. Ben?
Oh, I am totally for proportional representation. Smokey. Seeking asylum is perfectly legal. Immigrants who are here seeking asylum are not here illegally. And that's one of the things about right-wingers. They'll talk about an invasion of illegal aliens. The vast majority of people who have come here are seeking asylum. So when you're completely mischaracterizing things. I saw the clip of Sam Cedar on Patrick Bet David. I've not watched the whole thing. I'll probably watch that as I eat dinner tonight, after I get off stream. But like the dude yelling at him, because like I've said that a million times. Like saying open borders is 100% a mischaracterization, it's an emotive fallacy. It's supposed to evoke, well, I didn't mean open borders, I mean that Joe Biden let blah, 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 blah in. Because, like, the border is literally militarized on the Mexican side. Literally militarized. The idea that we have open borders is just insane. Oh, but like, I have no idea who those people are. I don't know Vinny, Hassan. I'm only going to watch the stupid Patrick Bet David thing because it's Sam. I'm sure, like, I went through the comments, and a lot of people in the comments said it was incredibly hard to watch. I can imagine that, because if they're just screaming at Sam, and one person described it as a teacher attempting to teach children as they're screaming at the top of their lungs, and they're staying incredibly calm. I said Mexican border, my lord. Bound, welcome in. Good to see you, my friend. So that was the case of, I forget her name, that was abducted in Maryland? Oh my God, I can't believe I can't think of her. I don't know geography, period. I certainly don't know Israeli geography. Yeah, the Rose Garden, totally not a good comparison to Israel, but I'm not sure that's what Dip was going for. Bernie was speaking today as they proposed a bill to hold up sales of heavy bombs to Israel.
Development that could make the situation even worse. Hard to believe, it really is, but it could. In recent months, President Trump and Israeli officials have openly talked about forcibly expelling the 2.2 million people who live in Gaza, pushing them out to make way for what Trump calls a Riviera.
Flash, I'm amazed he didn't filibuster this.
Playground. Now, I think some people may be watching this think this can't be true. You must be kidding. You must be lying. This is inconceivable.
Apparently, he didn't wear a diaper. He dehydrated himself. So he didn't have any fluids in him? Or like, that's what he says he did. Do you think he really wore a diaper?
Achievable. Pushing 2.2 desperate people out of where they live.
Oh yeah, Booker is a acolyte of Rabbi
Shmuley. A few years ago, as some may recall, Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, said that he felt, quote, Jared Kushner, quote, Gaza's waterfront property could be very valuable, end quote. Floating the idea...
Dollar Store Obama is Hakeem Jeffries.
I think that many people at the time thought that was a weird and terrible joke. But it turns out that his father-in-law, Donald Trump, took it seriously. Here is what Trump has said repeatedly in recent months, quote, the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and we will do a job with it, end quote. Quote, we're going to take over that piece. We're going to develop it, quote, end quote. Quote, I do see a long-term ownership position. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States.
Everybody rip a bong.
That piece of land, end quote. Guess he didn't speak to too many Palestinians who live on that land. On Truth Social, Trump wrote, quote, the Gaza Strip would be turned over to the United States by Israel at the conclusion of fighting, end quote. What about the Palestinians who have lived in Gaza for their entire lives? Trump said, quote, I don't think people should be going back to Gaza. They live like they're living in hell. Gaza is not a place for people to be living, end quote. Gaza could become, quote, again, Donald Trump, the Riviera of the Middle East. This could be something that could be so valuable. This could be so magnificent, end of quote. Yeah. Throw 2.2 million people who have suffered incalculably, throw them out of the land in which they live in order to create a billionaire's playground. Mr. President, there is a name and a term for forcibly expelling people from where they live.
Ethnic cleansing.
It is called ethnic cleansing. It is a war crime.
Battle opossum. Now, you can imagine how Bernie's bill to stop arms sales to Israel went. And it wasn't all arms sales. It was just these heavy fucking bombs. Senate defeats Bernie's bid to block Israeli weapons sales. Oh, shit. How? Oh, fuck you, Punch Bowl. I didn't need you anyway. We heard from the man. And now, why might they want to block arms sales to Israel? Yeah, the vote failed 15 to 83. Here are the 15 Democratic senators that deserve your praise. Cory Booker, not one of them. Bernie Sanders of Vermont, Chris Murphy of Connecticut, Mazie Hirono from Hawaii. I don't even know Schatz from Hawaii. Dick Durbin. I give Dick Durbin a lot of shit. Well deserved. But thank you, Dick Durbin. Markey, Warren, Van Hollen, Smith, Kim, Heinrich, Lujan, Merkley, Welch, and Kane. You don't need a gun, Bound. What do you need a gun for? Just owning a gun makes it more likely that you shoot yourself, a loved one, or have the gun used against you than you are to prevent a crime. Elizabeth Warren's kind of surprising to me. Thank you, Liz. But you never know when she might turn into a snake in the grass. Buddy, that's wild. You got a problem. If you have 1,000 of anything other than rice, you've probably got a problem with it. Survivor challenges Israeli account of attack on Gaza paramedics. What I'm getting ready to read you is horrific. You do not know what Israel is now accused of. Holy shit. I'm the only survivor who saw what happened to my colleagues. Mother Abed says, scrolling through pictures of his fellow paramedics on his phone, he survived the Israeli attack that killed 15 emergency workers in Gaza by driving to the floor in the back of his ambulance as his two colleagues in the front were shot in the early hours of March 23rd. We left the headquarters roughly at dawn, he told one of the BBC's trusted freelance journalists working in Gaza, explaining how the response team from the Palestinian Red Crescent, Gaza's civilian defense agency, and the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees gathered on the edge of the southern city of Rafah after receiving reports of gunfire and wounded people. Roughly by 4:30, all civilian defense vehicles were in place. At 4:40, the first two vehicles went out. At 4:50, the last vehicle arrived. At around 5, the agency UN car was shot at directly in the street. The Israeli military says its forces opened fire because the vehicles were moving suspiciously towards soldiers without prior coordination and with their lights off. It also claimed that 9 Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad operatives were killed in the incident. Doubt. Munther challenges that account. During day and at night, it's the same thing. External and internal lights are on. Everything tells you it's an ambulance vehicle that belongs to the Palestinian Red Crescent. All lights were on until the vehicle came under direct fire. After that, he adds, he was pulled from the wreckage by Israeli soldiers, arrested and blindfolded. He claimed he was interrogated over 15 hours before being released. The BBC has put its claims to the Israeli Defense Forces, but it is yet to respond. The IDF did not randomly attack an ambulance, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar claimed, when questioned at a news conference echoing the IDF's statements. Several uncoordinated vehicles were identified advancing suspiciously toward IDF troops without headlights or emergency signals. IDF troops then opened fire at the suspected vehicles. Following an initial assessment, it was determined that the forces had eliminated a Hamas military terrorist, Mahmoud Amin Abraham Shabaki, who took part in the October 7th massacre along with 8 other terrorists from Hamas and the Islamic Jihad. Apparently that's from the Red Crescent guy. Shabaki's name is not on the list of the 15 dead emergency workers, 8 of whom were Palestinian Red Crescent medics. 6 were civilian defense first. That wasn't a quote. That was a quote from the IDF. I'm sorry. I misidentified that. Shabaki's name is not on the list of the 15 dead emergency workers, 8 of whom were Palestinian Red Crescent medics, 6 were civil defense first responders, and 1 was an UNRWA staff member. Israel has not accounted for the whereabouts of Shabaki's body or offered any evidence of the direct threat the emergency workers posed. Munther rejects Israel's claim that Hamas may have used the ambulances as cover. That's utterly untrue. All the crews are civilian. We don't belong to any militant group. Our main duty is to offer ambulance services and save people's lives. No more, no less. Apparently that's one of the medics that was killed in cold blood. Gaza's paramedics carried their own colleagues to their funerals earlier this week. There was an outcry of grief along with calls for accountability. One bereaved father told the BBC that his son was killed in cold blood. International agencies could only access the area to retrieve their bodies a week after the attack. They were found buried in sand alongside the wrecked ambulances, fire truck, and UN vehicle. Sam Rose, acting director of UNRWA's Gaza office, says what we know is that 15 people lost their lives. They were buried in shallow graves in a sand berm in the middle of the road, treated with complete indignity and what would appear to be an infringement of international humanitarian law. What they did was they used bulldozers to bury them. The IDF did. But if it's only if we have an investigation, a full and complete investigation, that we'll be able to get to the bottom of it. Israel is yet to commit to an investigation. According to the UN, at least 1,060 healthcare workers. 1,060 healthcare workers have been killed since the start of the conflict. And I have absolutely heard reports that is an undercount. One paramedic is still unaccounted for following the March 23rd incident. They were not just colleagues, but friends, Munther said, nervously running prayer beads through his fingers. We used to eat, drink, laugh, and have jokes together. I consider them my second family. I will expose the crimes committed by the occupation Israel against my colleagues. If I was not the only survivor, who could have told the world what they did to our colleagues, and who would have told their story? This is a yearly thing. Every time this year, we get video of illegal settlers coming over to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and desecrating it. And I don't give a shit about religious symbology. But like they're just trying to provoke. They're trying to provoke the Palestinians. They're trying to intimidate them and get them to leave. It's disgusting. It wasn't just it was Cuds News. To be fair, the video didn't look like much desecration, but that was the caption from the Cuds News Network. They could just be seeing the Jewish people being on that site, laying down whatever blankets they are as desecration. I think all religious people are kind of weird, to be honest with you. So I don't know what exactly is desecration. The U.S. has now banned sex between personnel and anyone who's Chinese. The U.S. government is enacting a sweeping ban on romantic or sexual relationships between American government personnel and Chinese citizens in China. I thought it was anyone Chinese, but apparently it's Chinese citizens. Just still insane. 4 individuals with direct knowledge of the new rules confirmed to the AP that the policy took effect in January. Shortly before U.S. Ambassador Nicholas Burns left his post in Beijing, it applies to all American diplomatic staff, family members, and contractors with security clearances stationed at U.S. facilities in mainland China and Hong Kong. What is the point of going anywhere if you can't pick up locals? The directive expands on a more limited policy put in place last summer that barred relationships between U.S. personnel and Chinese support staff, such as guards. The broadened rule prohibits intimate relationships with any Chinese national while in China. Newsweek has contacted the U.S. Embassy in Beijing for comment. The State Department said it does not comment on internal matters. Burns, who apparently was the ambassador they cited earlier, now the vice chair at the consultancy, the Cohen Group, did not respond to the AP's request for comment. I've been told. Winnie, good evening. Who else snuck in here on me? Ponder Monkey, I told you good evening. Alien, welcome in. Avalon, I think I told you good evening, but you get a second one. Carla, darling. Hope you are well. Holiday. If Clinically is over on YouTube, I am sorry that, it wasn't you. I didn't just cut off the stream to YouTube because you popped up. I cut off the stream to YouTube because I didn't realize I was on YouTube. I was like, oh shit, I gotta cut this off. Prometheus, welcome. I hope you've washed your ass, friend.
Life is too short to walk this earth for a crusty asshole. Wash your ass.
Prometheus gets a titty slap. We got smoke now that Prometheus is here.
Come on now.
Okay, that is the clip comes from Toni Storm in AEW. Let me tell you what she did last night. Her opponent tried to French kiss her during a match, and she bit her tongue. And they did a whole fucking thing where her opponent had her tongue. She's a wild one. She's out here giving people titty slaps, biting people that are trying to French kiss her. Give them titties, Now, I've been told by the chat that I always have to hit a content warning anytime I show this man's face on stream.
Thank you, Senator Whitehouse. Senator Cruz.
It's long been said that hypocrisy is the tribute that vice pays to virtue. I have to admit I'm enjoying listening to my Democrat colleagues suddenly discover the virtues of the rule of law after 4 years where they brazenly supported the most lawless Department of Justice and the most politically weaponized Department of Justice our nation has ever seen. We just heard the senator from Rhode Island talk about the imperative of protecting judges. And yet not a single Democrat senator cared about the violent protesters that showed up outside Supreme Court.
Listen, what is it they say in law? I'm probably going to fuck up the saying, but when the facts are on your side, you pound the facts. When the law is on your side, you pound the law. When nothing's on your side, you pound the table. That's what Ted Cruz just did.
Supreme Court justices' homes, including, I might note, female justices like Justice Amy Coney Barrett, threatening their family, and Joe Biden's attorney general didn't do a damn thing and refused to enforce the law to protect those judges. Why? Because he agreed with the violent protesters and he wanted to intimidate and threaten those judges. Professor Bray.
I mean, maybe postmodern, I might.
Who should decide elections, the voters or unelected judges?
The voters are the ones who should vote in the election. According
Prometheus is hot ass. That's who should
laws sometimes
decide.
have to be applied by the judges if there are cases.
And under our Constitution, who is charged with making policy decisions? Elected representatives elected by the people or...
Depends on the locality and the level. Like some judges are appointed, like U.S. judges are appointed by the president. Others usually on the local level are elected, but some are still appointed. It varies.
Elected federal judges.
I think the question of policy, Senator, is a little broader than the particular case. So the laws should be enacted by Congress. That's where the fountain of law.
Policy decisions are the elected branches.
Right.
Law is the province.
I one up, tip one back.
Policy is the province of the elected branches. These are not complicated. Professor Bray, let me ask you this. Do the federal courts have power to issue remedies for people who are not parties to a case?
That's a question I agree is not complicated. They do not have that power.
Is the phrase nationwide injunction or universal injunction found anywhere in the Constitution?
It is not.
What?
First chart. In the first 150
These are all called loaded questions, by the way.
years of our republic, how many nationwide injunctions were issued?
My view is that there were not any until 1963.
0. Now fast forward. How many?
I would totally vote for you, Flash.
Issued in the entire 20th century.
It's a small
vote for
number.
Flash and his dildo.
I think it would be a dozen, give or take. It's not large.
27, actually. Excluding Trump's first term, how many nationwide injunctions were issued in the...
Have you tried not breaking the law? Where's this little chart at? I want to see it again. There it is. There's the injunctions issued against Trump. Injunctions issued against other presidents. Josephus, please don't try to send me links during the show. I could be doing a bit. I could be doing a video and one cut up for YouTube. Like, no offense, but like, that's not what we're doing right now. Yes, go to the Discord. Now I'm all sidetracked. Now I'm not going to be able to cut it up for YouTube. But don't leave. Don't be a sissy and get your feelings hurt. God damn it. I am expressing my feelings. And letting you know my boundaries. Yeah, that's usually what people say when they leave. I don't want you to leave. Don't feel bad. Am I going to have to go on the rant again? I get so many people that send me videos. Like all fucking day. My friends send me videos all goddamn day. And like, I don't understand, like, people like might be flipping through their phone. Like, it's I understand that, like, oh, this made you think of me. But usually, like, I was doing something that was far more important. I'm not just sitting on my phone flipping through like most people are all day or something. I have no idea, Avalon, because if you sent me something, I didn't fucking watch it. Because it's all goddamn day. And now that I'm a streamer, it's people that I don't even know are sending me videos. I can't trust my own fucking friends to send me videos that I give a shit about. Please don't send me shit. Yes, but Flash, while I'm getting in arguments with anti-racist Bob, I'm probably doing something in my video software and listening to a podcast, watching blah, 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 listening to music, jamming out. I'm not just sitting on Twitter arguing with people all day. Like, usually I have to wait on my computer to do something. I go to Twitter and there are adult content threads in the Discord. Yeah, Ponder Monkey, whatever you sent me over here, it better be good. I'm playing it. Let's find out. Oh, it's my own clip? Ow, fuck. Ow. Cat got me good in the leg. Yeah, we all watched that. Why did I need to see that then? I have attention problems. That's one of the reasons why I don't like people to send me stuff. I'm sorry. And it offends people. Why does it offend people? Why does it offend people to tell you, like, I don't want to see your fucking 15-second TikTok that, like, it was, what, also that's the thing, like, TikToks don't play on my computer. Like, TikTok is a horrible app. I'm sitting here behind fucking 5 screens. People sending me these goddamn TikToks. The app, like, auto plays at full volume. I got no way to control the volume. And it's usually something stupid. I'm so... Oh, I would love to see your cat videos. Now, that's different. You send me animal shit. Like, that's cool. Do that all day. You can never go. My problem is not people sending me shit. It's that I need to be able to trust that you will send me quality shit. And, like, you got to earn that trust. And my best friend doesn't have that trust. I'm sorry. It's hot. That's probably why I'm going on this rant. My apologies. I'm sorry if I hurt anybody's feelings. Okay, here, like, it's not that I appreciate my best friend. Like, he loves B movies and he loves, like, shit that sucks. Like, genuinely. And, like, he doesn't, like, slop TV shows and movies. Loves that shit. Like, you show him any superhero movie, he absolutely fucking loved it. And so I can't trust his recommendations on things. You see what I mean? Like, I don't, like, he doesn't... he doesn't have, like, a filter about things. So, like, yeah, I can't trust his recommendations. He's, like, when it comes to a horror movie, he's never seen one that he thought was bad. And there are fucking bad horror movies. So, yeah, you see, no one in the fucking world has ever recommended Rebel Ridge to me. All right, Flash, we're going to watch the fucking trailer. Let's go. Let's find out what this shit's all. Because I watched the trailer for goddamn White Lotus. And I'm like, nope. If it was a horror movie, I'd probably like it. Alright, here we go. Flash has been telling me to watch this fucking show. Killer Clowns from Out. Okay, here's the main thing that turns me off from it. I want a good wide shot here. Good scenic shot.
Sit down. You stay low.
Notice the color.
All right.
You can fight for the money.
Notice there's no depth of field to it. It's got the Netflix look. I hate the Netflix look. I'm dead serious. Like, there's no color grading to it. It's so flat. The acting looked alright. I like Don Johnson. That's a selling point. But the fact that it's on Netflix is like, Netflix hasn't made a good show in... They've got a formula. And if I had to guess, like, this is one of those where, like they keep restating the story over and over again. Because Netflix has guidelines. Exactly, clinically. Welcome in, my friend. I didn't leave because of you last night. I left because you popping up reminded me that I was on YouTube. And, like, I had to leave. But they've got guidelines to where your content needs to be your second screen. That this is a movie to play in the background while somebody's on their phone. And it looks like that to me. It looks like it was almost derived from an AI, like you said, Rambo. Like, this is every action movie trope dumbed down to the lowest common denominator. And this is film nerd me. I understand. Once again, like, my buddy loves slop, and he hates this kind of shit about me that I'll criticize it like this. But this is me, Rambro. Oh my God, that's hilarious. And I'm just like, I feel like I've seen it before. That's my main problems. That I know it's like a Netflix production, so it's probably smacking you in the face with the plot over and over again, so that if you're on your phone and miss something, you know exactly what's going on. I don't love slop for slop's sake. That's for fucking sure. Some good... Okay, that looked like good slop. That looked like slop well done. Can we all agree on that? And I don't do brain rot TV. If I'm going to watch something, I'm engaged with it, because I could be doing a million other things that I like better, including talking to myself. I love to have like music on and I have fantastic conversation. I'm the best fucking person to talk to. It did look like it had good fight choreography. I can give it that. I can give it its props. And like I said, Don Johnson I would watch an episode with an open mind after watching the trailer. But I'm telling you what I think it has going against it. And I'm probably right. I like there are good action movies. But I guess when I say good action movie, I'm probably going to give you something that you would consider like a psychological thriller, like Enemy of the State. That was like an action psychological thriller. That's a damn good fucking movie. Matrix is a good action movie. Let me try to think of something from... Enemy of the State was fucking awesome. That's Gene Hackman, isn't it? I wanted to watch that in honor of Gene Hackman. Let's get through this news. And we'll chill out on the other side.
Welcome.
You need to know that a judge today, what is it, Boasberg? I think that's the name of the judge. Could hold Trump officials in contempt.
Welcome back to America Decides. A federal judge is considering what consequences, if any, the Trump administration will face after arguments today over whether these officials defied a court order issued last month. You might remember the judge ruled that any planes carrying migrants deported under the authority of the 1798 Alien Enemies Act must be returned to the United States, not for release, but just for their processing under due process rights. In spite of this, the Trump administration opted not to turn the flights around, and they were carrying hundreds of alleged Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador. Scott McFarland was in the courtroom, joins me now. What happened? Yeah, Judge.
I really don't feel like doing goddamn news anymore. Here, let me tell you that the Pentagon launched a probe into officials' use of Signal. There's nothing more to that behind the headline. We don't need to watch that. Hold on. I'm not going to let you go uninformed. And we're going to watch whatever cool videos I have still left. The doctor that saved Trump's life when he had the COVID, yep, he got fired. Let's do this. Laura Loomer, apparently. Elon has been replaced with Laura Loomer, now making hiring decisions inside the White House, because what the fuck?
The fact that Donald Trump appears to be getting advice on matters of national security from a far-right, pro-white nationalism, 9/11 truther is not even the most disturbing part of the story.
Objectively.
It's that Trump might actually...
I love you guys.
First, the backstory. NBC News today confirmed...
I'm really hot. It's really hot in here. The heat is bothering. Like, I was going to put my air conditioner in the window last night, and I don't have a thing to plug the window on the other side. So I can't put my air conditioner in the window.
With two sources, much of what the New York Times first reported, that prior to yesterday's tariff palooza in the Rose Garden, Laura Loomer met with Donald Trump in the Oval Office. The topic of the conversation,
do you think he's fucking her?
The National Security Council. Mike Walls, the National Security Advisor and Signal chat enthusiast, was in the meeting.
Milo said that she gave him head
against what Laura Loomer was saying, that some members of the NSC were, quote, disloyal. Remember, Trump got rid of a career federal prosecutor last week, about an hour after Laura Loomer posted about him online. Well, this afternoon, NBC News is confirming that at least 3 national security aides were fired.
She used to be kind of cute.
While other news outlets report that the number could end up being higher. Notable that this latest purge is happening a week and a half after Signalgate, a scandal for which no one has been fired that we know of, but one for which we learned this afternoon will be the subject of a DOD Inspector General's investigation.
Yes. I'm surprised they still have an Inspector General at the Pentagon.
Everyone is back. You know, if you're...
Yeah, we don't need their fucking panel. Though this dude's laughing. He kind of makes me intrigued to see what he has to say, because I feel like he's gonna shit on the panel and the story. But, like, I'm not interested enough to keep going. Wow, yes, the fucking difference. That's like 10 years. It's about how long she's been around, right? Like the end of the Obama administration. Like the start of like the YouTube push and like right around adpocalypse time and shit like that. Is it just Botox, or I have no idea. Cheek implants. She is a lovely lady right there. Like, what is wrong with her? Why would she do that? She is batshit crazy. We watched some wild ass footage last night. Did seem to be a nose. Caroline Leavitt has had a nose job, hasn't she? Like, it is very obvious. Here's shit from the
damage left behind in eastern
tornado
Arkansas by last night's tornado outbreak. In the town of Elmira, the storms destroyed homes, caused widespread power outages. The Arkansas State Emergency Management Office reported damage in 22 different counties from last night's severe weather outbreak. One of the hardest hit communities was Lake City in northeast Arkansas. That's about 20 minutes east of Jonesboro. Reporter Carter Thweet spent time there today and shows us the damage and why the community
I tell you good evening.
Blessed despite everything that happened.
Crews here in Lake City, Arkansas, still tending to storm damage that took place on Wednesday night. People here at Riverside.
And look at the sky!
While the damage is devastating, the main thing to keep in mind is that no lives were lost.
I was scared because it was so close.
Kenneth Winford took shelter with his family as a likely tornado came.
They're calling like a 3-day weather event, and apparently it's really slow moving. I thought it was supposed to get to me tomorrow. They've pushed it back. It's now like Sunday night. It's supposed to get to me. I can drive over to Arkansas in a half a day.
Came a half mile from his house on the outskirts of Lake City.
It turned due east and came through here, and wiped out the part of the town.
They need to white balance their camera for sure, Ponder
Telling me
Monkey.
they saw extensive damage to 15 structures in Lake City, many of those people's homes, not to mention all the downed trees and power lines, as well as a few buildings in nearby cities like Monette.
We have some total losses without a doubt. It's devastating for those people.
But Boyd says despite it all, it could have been worse. For one thing, the damage was only confined to the west part of Lake City, away
Ryan Hall, y'all probably makes
and rescue efforts that
good
began
penny on
right
these
after
storms.
the storm ensured that no lives were lost.
We did have some entrapment, after the tornado did hit residences. We were able to rescue everyone, probably within the hour. I think everyone was rescued, and fortunately no fatalities. We had about 6 injuries, but they were all considered minor.
There were several fatalities in the
circumstances were.
So now the cleanup process begins. Crews manned Highway 18 Thursday cleaning up debris. And for those who lost property, it may be a while before things get back to normal, but it won't be for a lack of help from their neighbors.
We were real close
Arkansas was hit with
working together and sharing, helping each other.
We've actually had to turn some services away that we don't need right now. So it's a good place to be where you're having to turn.
Several people were killed in Mississippi.
In Lake City, Carter Thweet, 5 News.
Carter Thweet. How'd I get on the other browser? Potentially historic flooding threat. Rainfall near Memphis, Tennessee is expected to exceed 12 inches over the next 3 days. This is Jeffersontown, Kentucky. A building that was damaged. Prolific tornado outbreak will give way to a rare and widespread flooding threat across the Midwest and southern U.S. this week, stressing the nation's short-staffed weather forecasting and disaster response efforts. At least 7 people have been reported have reportedly died, and so far nearly 100 tornadoes struck on Wednesday. Combined 284 tornado warnings. Yeah. That's what it was labeled the other night. A once-in-a-generation storm system. 100 tornadoes. 284 combined tornado warnings. It was exceeded by an entire month of April. That's the only time. God. The cold front that helped spark Wednesday's tornadoes will slow down over the next few days, causing lines of thunderstorms to stall near the confluence of the Ohio-Mississippi rivers, creating a life-threatening, catastrophic, and potentially historic flash flood event. Let's do a little criminal news before we get out of here. However, these criminal stories, they still intersect with politics. It's becoming harder and harder to delineate where the crime section of the show starts, where the politics completely ends.
Prosecutors moved to drop charges against a man that South Carolina's 1st Congressional District Representative Nancy Mace accused of assaulting her during an event at the U.S. Capitol just last year. Representative Mace accused James McIntyre, a national foster care advocate.
To be perfectly clear, Nancy Mace can be my GOP mommy.
Of confronting her during a December 10th reception celebrating the 25th anniversary of the passage of the Foster Care Independence Act of 1999. Mace claimed the assault came in response to her efforts to bar transgender women from using women's restrooms on federal property. But McIntyre pled not guilty to those charges. We're told those charges are no longer being pursued. According to a Washington, D.C. Superior Court filing Tuesday, government attorneys did not provide a reason for the dismissal in their, quote, not to wish to prosecute filing. Mace denounced that decision.
Probably no evidence.
News 2 saying it sends an appalling message. Her statement reads in part, quote, when a man can physically assault a woman in the halls of Congress with impunity, it sends an appalling message to every woman in America. If it can happen here, it can happen anywhere.
Flash, that was a fucking skit on SNL a month ago, 2 months ago, whatever the one with Shane Gillis was. What's her name? I really like her. White girl. She like kept taking pictures in front of the orange tree. Literally a sketch. It just happened. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, Chief of Staff, Steve of Chaff, pleads not guilty to drunken driving charges. Speaker Mike Johnson has a chief of staff, and he's pleaded not guilty to DUI charges. He was acquitted the same night President Trump delivered his joint address to Congress. Wow. Casey, good evening. Hayden Haynes, 35, appeared before D.C. Superior Court Judge Heidi Herman via video call. The Washington Post reported Haynes was arrested by Capitol Police on allegations that he drove while under the influence in early March. Authorities say he backed into a parked vehicle around 11:40 p.m. on March 4th. The responding officer said the staffer was unsteady when he exited his car. Haynes told the police he had 4 drinks within a 4-hour period. The judge gave Haynes, which means he had 8, the ability to remain on release while his charges were pending, but the staffer was required to submit to a drug test and alcohol assessment. Next court date is May 16th. It certainly would cut down on DUIs. Speaking of crime in D.C., this happened earlier today. 6 people were injured in a apparent senseless stabbing in Washington, D.C. We're going to go to the police press conference here, or at least a clip of it.
At approximately 3:22 p.m. this afternoon, 5th District officers responded to the reports of a stabbing. Officers arrived on scene in less than a minute and located numerous people suffering from stab wounds in the area of Montello Avenue and Meigs Place Northeast. Officers immediately provided first aid and requested DC Fire and EMS to respond to the scene. 4 women and 2 men were transported to area hospitals as a result of a senseless assault. They are all listed in stable condition at this time. The 5th District's crime suppression team was in the area and located the suspect laying in the ground in the 1700 block of Montello Avenue Northeast. Officers used good tactics to safely take him into custody without incident. The knife pictured here was recovered a few feet away from the suspect and is believed to be the weapon used in the assault. Based on preliminary information, it appears the suspect was in an altered mental state from an unknown substance. While walking down the street, the individual began stabbing himself and then stabbed a female acquaintance.
Bath salts are making a comeback.
The suspect then stabbed others standing outside in the block. 2 Good Samaritans, and we are very grateful for them this afternoon, tried to intervene in the suspect's assault and were among those who was injured. I will say this, even though we're grateful for their intervention, we would ask that individuals who see incidents such as this to not intervene, because these 2 individuals, although Good Samaritans, were also stabbed as part of this assault. I want to offer my thoughts to the victims, their families, and those who witnessed today's events. This incident highlights the need for assistance of substance abuse issues within our communities.
That those substance abuse issues are probably caused by homelessness and shit that's easy to fix. Just give people housing. What's with the stabbing? People getting stabby out here. The weather's changing. People getting warmer. People getting stabby. I shouldn't make light of this. Apparently, a young man was stabbed at a Texas track meet.
And we begin right away with breaking news. Just minutes ago, WFAA obtained the arrest warrant affidavit in that deadly stabbing at a track meet in Frisco ISD.
Yeah, it reveals where the suspect got the knife and that he told police he killed Austin Metcalf in self-defense. Tiffany Liu has been covering this story since Wednesday morning and joins us in the newsroom with what she's learned.
Yeah, well, Chris and Izzy, I've been working on this since this morning, trying to get this arrest affidavit. Finally, we obtained it from Frisco police. It says 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony identified himself as the suspect when police arrived at Frisco ISD's Kirkendall Stadium on Wednesday morning. Now, the court documents say Anthony told police with his hands up in the air, quote, "I was protecting myself." Now, walking him off the track, Anthony told police he put his hands on me and I told him not to. Anthony also asked if the victim, Austin Metcalf, would be okay. Frisco police say officers located a knife in the bleachers and that there were many, many witnesses. We just got our hands on this arrest affidavit. We're going to have much more on these new developments.
Now, you guys have not seen pictures, but the victim is white and the suspect is black. Not to bring race into this, but I'm just pointing it out because if that statement is true, it's going to be far more difficult for him to get a fair trial.
Developments tonight at 10
Cicero.
And of course on WFA.com. But right now, you guys, more tributes are pouring in for 17-year-old Austin.
Yep, I'm sure, Flash.
And the pizzeria where he worked alongside his family is honoring his memory and stepping in.
Has it made it up to Fox News and everything yet? I didn't see any Fox News clips of it. Because this just happened, what, yesterday morning, something like that?
Help.
At Halo Pizzeria in Frisco, it's all about family.
They're just not employees to us. They're very much family.
And when their own are hurting, they grieve together.
Honestly, I've never had to deal with something.
Oh, had the roles been reversed and it had been a black victim with a white suspect, they would absolutely be like, oh, he was defending himself.
Like this, so close to home.
Carrie Ordaz, the restaurant owner, is in disbelief.
He's a missed child.
On Wednesday morning, 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, a student athlete at Memorial High School, was stabbed and killed at a UIL track meet.
You'd give anything to reverse time.
I'd stab him over that hair.
Austin was part of the Halo Pizzeria family. Outside of school, track, and football.
I'm sorry, I
shouldn't say
that.
Mom Megan and identical twin Hunter.
I'm gonna miss the light that, the two brought out in each other.
There are so many unanswered questions about why this happened.
It's just so unnecessary. That's the only word that I can think of.
Frisco police say it was an altercation between two students. Meanwhile, Frisco Independent School District increased police presence and are providing counselors for students. The track meet is rescheduled to Monday, and they say they'll share security precautions with families soon. At this time, both the police and the district declined interviews with us today.
Nothing's going to change the fact that this mother has lost her child.
For Carrie, her focus is the Metcalf family.
We absolutely love this family. They have been with us. Literally, all three of them came to interview before we even opened our restaurant.
Austin Hunter and Mama Megan supported Carrie's dreams from the start.
She's one of my most favorite people.
To give back to a family she cares for so much, Carrie created a GoFundMe to support Megan and Hunter through funeral and legal expenses, and she plans to do a fundraiser at Halo soon too.
Calling out to your
The two kids didn't know each other, apparently.
Realizing that they're not there.
She knows their pain is inconsolable, but hopes to carry the burden in other ways.
We just love them so much.
In Frisco, I'm Tiffany
I shouldn't say that about a victim.
That family is going to need all the support that community can muster. If you go on our website, we posted a link to their GoFundMe, in Tiffany's story, at WFAA.com.
'Cause 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 'cause
That's probably not the last we're going to hear about that. What the fuck is wrong with me? What'd I do this time? There's a lot of things wrong with me, Cicero. There's a lot of things. That is a loaded question. In the colloquial sense, not in the logic sense. I think we got some wild video on this. This is a road rage incident in Riverside, California.
Terrifying case of road rage caught on a motorcyclist's helmet camera in Riverside.
Oh, God!
Knocked off of his bike and then dragged by an angry driver.
And he shared his video and spoke exclusively with Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan a short time ago.
Helmet cam video showing a violent collision in Riverside. A motorcycle rider struck and dragged on the street. It's tough to tell for how long. Fortunately, though, he survived. The whole thing an apparent case of road rage.
As a few seconds went on, it felt like forever. I started slipping, so I could see the undercarriage of the car. And I went from being mad to being scared.
The motorcycle rider didn't want us to give out his name, but says it all happened Tuesday afternoon near La Sierra and the 91 freeway in Riverside. He says it started when he was pulling to the front of an intersection and the driver of a black Nissan abruptly cut him off.
So I filtered to the front and yeah, I got mad. I'm shaking my head. And I look back and...
You got some road rash.
And he's hanging his head out the window and he's saying something.
What's your issue? What's up?
Why'd you shake your head?
Why did I shake my head?
Yeah.
Because you move over at the very last second when I was already moving up.
You're behind me. I go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the incident doesn't end there. The motorcyclist continuing onward, stopping ahead at another light. The motorcyclist saying the driver of the Nissan chasing him down. That's when this happens.
In the footage, I look back just in time to see the front end of his car squeezing between both of those cars. He rear ends me, knocks me off the bike, and then floors it over me. And he drug me, and it felt like he was stepping on the gas, so I'm not sure how fast we were going. All I know is when he...
Look, you didn't go under the car.
He threw it in reverse, so I took that chance, got up, ran to the sidewalk, and he fled the scene.
Riverside police say 32-year-old Gary DeLandro eventually turned himself in, now facing attempted murder charges. Bail set at $1 million. As for the motorcyclist, he had moderate injuries, staples below his knee, burn injuries to his backside. His jacket and backpack shredded.
As far as motorcyclists go, I know there's a large community of people that dislike the fact that we split lanes.
That's the road rash.
There's a safety measure to it. There's a reason why. There's a reason why California permits it. There's a safe way to do it. There's a not smart way to do it. But at the end of the day, regardless what the situation is, it shouldn't be enough to warrant trying to kill somebody.
In Riverside, Rob McMillan, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Hello.
Hey, Mark Brown. I appreciate you. I don't even know if I want to do this story. Content warning, there's probably going to be some major transphobia. I know it's going to be some major transphobia. I'm going to assume what we have here is another Riley Gaines. Another one of those smells an opportunity. And that's wild, because that's usually their argument against trans women or girls competing in sports. It's like they're looking for fame or something. And these women that are speaking out, or girls, I don't even know where this competition is, what level it is. They're usually just looking for their fame. This was a fencing competition. Have we got Soup? No. I want Soup to see this. We love it for the fencing. Hate it for the bullshit. Girl. Okay, this is the college level. Just to play devil's advocate, what the fuck would being male even have to do with fencing? Why would that be an advantage? Sorry, DJ Dub, we're not even getting anything from the audio. I feel like that's just a cop-out. Girl, you're a cop-out. That's all it is. This happened in the last couple of days. And guess what? She's already been on Fox News. Posted yesterday. I don't know if it happened yesterday. May have been over the weekend. Oh, it's not about just, fucking off. Not about forfeiting and fucking off. Gotta go milk it.
A female fencer stands up for fairness in women's sports. She did it by taking a knee and refusing to compete against a biological male at a tournament over the weekend. The referee's response, a black card, the sport's most severe penalty, which means expulsion from the tournament. Let's bring in the athlete at the center of it all.
Well, yeah. Get the fuck out of here.
Thanks so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So this was an Olympic qualifying event. My understanding of it is.
She's got no charisma. She is going to fail at her Raleigh Games turn.
It wasn't an Olympic qualifying event. I'm sorry. I had heard that this morning.
No, it wasn't.
It was an important event, though. And this is something that you've been preparing for an awfully long time. You decided that you were going to take yourself out of the tournament. What was the thinking in leading up to the decision where you took a knee?
Why would you?
Right. So this was actually a regional tournament held by the USFA at the University of Maryland. So part of my pre-competition ritual is to check the online registration to see who is going to be there and just double check my check-in times. And on the registration list, I saw Redmond Sullivan's name listed there. And I recognized this individual from a previous Redux article that had been written stating that this was a man who had previously competed on the men's team at Wagner and was now competing as a woman within the USFA. So from that point...
So has met all the requirements.
With the USFA and with this...
What does gender have to do with fencing? Is there anything that would be a boon to even being male? That's like the woman that got upset about the darts. What the fuck would darts matter?
Tournament, and I just felt like at a loss. I'd already committed so much money to it and training hours, and I was literally looking forward to this. I do this tournament every year.
Yeah. I don't think I believe her. I believe that she was probably approached by an organization. I bet she was approached by TPUSA or something like that.
Maybe like my 10th year in a row doing this tournament.
They alerted her to it.
I just got really sad and I started crying.
Fritter.
This was like the last thing I wanted to deal with in my competition.
So at one point in the video, we see you take a knee, and then the official comes over. What did you say to the official at that point?
So the official came over to me and asked if I was still refusing to fence, and I said yes. Oh, and you're talking about initially?
Or were this girl's previous finishes?
Initially, I told them that I was refusing defense because this.
I'm just hearing this for the first time, though. Like I haven't dug into the background.
And I refused to fence on principle.
And then later, right after this, we see your opponent comes over. What did you say to your opponent at that point?
My opponent was a little bit confused, thinking that I was maybe hurt. And
showed concern for you.
No, I am refusing to fence you because I'm a woman and you are a man. I have much love and respect for you, but
no, you don't.
I will not compete against you.
Wow.
And he responded, okay, well, there's a, yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sorry, what was his response?
His response was, okay, but there's a member of the board of directors here, and he supports me, and there's a policy that says that I'm a woman and I'm allowed to compete in the women's tournament, and if you do this, you're going to get black carded. And I said, I know.
So here's what USA Fencing said in a statement.
So you're doing it for publicity.
USA Fencing enacted our current transgender and non-binary athlete policy in 2023. The policy was designed to expand access to the sport of fencing and create inclusive, safe spaces. It goes on to talk more, but this idea about inclusive, safe spaces, what about inclusive, safe spaces for female athletes?
How is she in danger?
Right. There's nothing for me and there's everything for him. Because I have no choice as a woman, as a female, in where I compete. I am a woman and I have an athletic disadvantage to men, so I compete in the women's division, which is what I rightfully am. But he has been given this opportunity to fence in the women's division, and he can compete. He can easily compete in the men's division. He can also compete at mixed events in local tournaments.
She is a girl.
So the idea that they're creating, they're expanding.
Yeah, like this is what's wild to me. The trans athlete was just minding her own business, existing, showed empathy towards you, and you're just using it to make a political statement. And I don't even think it's unfair. I don't like, even taking at face value that you somehow think being assigned male at birth gives her some sort of advantage. I don't see how that applies to fencing at all.
Making it an open tournament that can include men, and it ends up hurting me and other girls.
So you've got the support of Riley Gaines, who was on our network.
Of course you do.
And former tennis star Martina Navratilova, who put this out on X. She said, this is what happens when female
stupid bitches
protest. Anyone here still think this is fair? I am fuming, and shame on USA Fencing. Shame on you for doing this. How dare you throw women under the gender BS bus?
And honestly, a lot of these sports, like fencing, should probably be.
We don't see this in the flip side.
Desegregated.
This all comes at the expense of female athletes like yourself.
How?
Like the girls who lost that race by 7 seconds in Oregon, like the girls who lost the pole vault event in Maine. I mean, this is happening across the country,
right.
and to a large degree, women support this.
No.
Right, it's happening in every sport and at every level, and there's really no option to.
Okay, I didn't think about that.
There are.
We didn't get more practice with sword-like things
within the authoritative body of the USFA. So I have very little option other than.
Yes, Riley Gaines lost to 4 other cis women.
Other pathways, like back in 2023 Summer Nationals, I just didn't sign up to fence in the Div 1A women's foil because there was another transgender person that I'd recognized in.
Jesus! You just see trans people everywhere, don't you?
I've avoided it as much as I can, but at what point do I have to just avoid all tournaments altogether because there's going to be somebody who's trans there?
It's a tough choice. As you point out, your opponent had 2 choices. Could compete as biological male or could compete in the women's. You have the choice of competing in the women's. So, Stephanie, thank you for telling your story. We really appreciate it.
By the way, that's when Fox News still had the ticker up. They actually removed it today. Did not talk about the economy at all today on their airwaves. You saw what the ticker usually looks like down in the bottom right-hand corner. There's Kayleigh McEnany. Literally talking about the tariffs creating a golden age. Took their ticker away. Wow! You're right! Holy shit! The typical black thug that stabbed a Christian white kid for minding his own business. Yet the story that we have was that he wasn't minding his own business. But we don't know. Insane. You know what else is insane? What Pat McAfee did to this young lady's life. And she don't fucking understand why. There was apparently this internet rumor that took a school campus by storm. Hold on here. Let me get the Pat McAfee clip queued up. This is from the Pat McAfee show on ESPN. They talking about the sporty ball, but they get a little off topic. Ole Miss, that was the college they're talking about.
Jackson Dart, Ole Miss guy, though, so you're going to have to check in on his father, make sure everything kind of...
Not high enough for this shit.
Yeah, just to make sure...
What do you mean?
You know, the right kind of culture type of guy.
Yeah, is Jackson Dart of Ole Miss's dad snooping around?
Yeah, which happens at Ole Miss. I mean, that's kind of a situation that can...
Have you heard about Ole Miss?
I've been there. The Grove.
Okay, so you know about that, yeah. So you have not heard about the last 12 hours.
No, it sounds like not.
There's a menage a trois that is...
really captivating.
Boy, oh boy.
I'll tell you what, there's some Greek life getting called into question.
Look out.
Learned a lot about the KDs, I think.
Parents' weekend's going to be lit.
Well, I think they're actually not doing it this week.
That would make more sense.
Yeah, from what I've been told, down there in Ole Miss. Have you heard anything about any of this?
No.
Oh, just wait. Because we said it, your algorithm's going to pick that up.
Got you.
And you'll hear it.
I'm going to get getting things about menage
No, well, that's the problem. It's actually a triangle.
That's probably still in there.
It's a
triangle
and there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
What?
A lot of moving parts, and one of them's a lot older than the other one. Well, the other two, actually.
Yeah.
One of them actually was.
Yeah, it's a
birthed.
right angle. Yeah, maybe
It's a situation.
It's an obtuse.
What? Can somebody translate, I don't speak dude bro? What in the fuck have they said?
What did I miss here the last
Some
12 hours?
kid's
stuff,
dad.
man.
Some kid's dad.
Clear your afternoon,
allegedly.
Shefty.
There's a lot to it.
It's sad.
Some kids, it is not a good situation for all parties. Trust is going to be ruined forever by a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It's just forever. Like, some Ole Miss frat bro.
Yep. Sure.
Okay. Had a KD girlfriend. Allegedly.
This is the story we know.
Allegedly.
At this exact moment, this is what is being reported by everybody on the internet. Dad had sex with son's girlfriend.
Yeah. Not great. Not great.
And then it was made public.
Which
so
is,
now that's
knows.
the absolute worst case situation.
So where is Jackson Dart in all this?
Well,
we're just wondering. Yeah, we're just wondering if he.
Oh, we didn't know if there was
his dad.
Just make sure his dad's
okay. We're trying to combine evaluate.
Yeah. Ole Miss dads are slinging meat right now.
So we got to get Jackson Dart's dad cleared before he can be elevated into
We
a
would like
first-round
to
pick.
hear from Mr. Dart.
That he's innocent.
Not in this case, just in general. We would like to maybe get. We have some questions. We have some questions on Ole Miss dads at the moment.
I'm still kind of confused, but I think some dad had a menage a trois with his son's girlfriend at Ole Miss. This is apparently just a rumor going around on campus that somehow made it to the Pat McAfee show, which, if you guys don't like sports, might not be aware is one of the biggest goddamn shows on the planet. They didn't mention her, but her name is Mary Kate Cornett, and she would like to discuss the events that have happened over the past few days. First of all, this rumor is 100% completely false, and it is quite frankly inexcusable that such disturbing accusations went viral. During this difficult time, my family and I have been overwhelmed with support from people all over the country. Thank you. It mattered. I especially appreciate the support from those who know me well enough to know how ridiculous this is. It is important to note that harassment and bullying of this manner is never okay. Cyber attacks based on nothing but lies and misinformation happen all too often. This experience has awakened me to the dangers of how we can all be manipulated to believe things we read on social media that are not true. My hope is that I am able to use the heartbreak and pain I have felt to help others that go through things like this in the future. It got so bad for this young lady, she had to give an interview to fucking NBC. Oh shit. It's wigging out on
Having the entire internet, half of the country hating you and calling you disgusting things, telling you to kill yourself, telling you that you're a horrible person, that you deserve to die.
And this is the same internet that celebrated Hawk Tua.
That's a really hard thing for a girl.
And she's a freshman.
In her first TV interview, Ole Miss freshman Mary Kate Cornett told me how she became famous on the internet and social media in the worst possible way. In February, an online rumor went viral, claiming an Ole Miss sorority sister slept with her boyfriend's father. Then, someone attached Cornett's name and photo to it.
Do you know why the rumor started?
No clue. No clue. I had zero knowledge of this.
Did you even have a boyfriend?
Rumor was a top trending topic on Twitter.
Within 2.5 hours. Later that night, around 7 p.m., I was #1 trending in the United States. I felt so helpless and so alone because so many people were hating on me for something that I had no idea anything about. I mean, I'm a very normal person. Just like any teenage girl, I care about what people think about me. I mean, any teenage girl can relate to that.
Cornett's phone number was also shared online. She was overwhelmed with harassing texts and voicemails.
I was having thousands of calls come through, thousands of texts coming through.
Of course not, DJ Dub.
Calling me a slut, telling me I deserve to die.
When you look back at the last 5 weeks, is there one moment that sticks out for you?
With myself, it would probably be at 3 a.m. when I was throwing up while holding the phone with all of the texts on it. Just saying how horrible of a person I was and that I should end my life.
All because of an internet rumor?
All because of an internet rumor that has zero truth to it. Zero.
Cornett says she could barely leave her dorm room, had to switch to online classes. Someone even sent police to her mother's house in a fake 911 call.
Some Ole Miss frat bro.
Yep, sir.
Okay. Had a KD girlfriend.
Soon, the rumor was picked up by
KD is the sorority.
Though he didn't use her name.
This is what is being reported by everybody on the internet.
Reported.
Dad had sex with son's girlfriend.
Has anyone apologized to you?
No. No. They have not at all. I want these famous people to know that I was not famous before this. I'm not a public figure that you can go talk about on your show to get more views. I'm not. Sorry. Nobody knows who I am, or nobody did know who I was. But them pressing this and pushing it farther made my situation so much worse. Because the people who were talking about it are the people that I would want to take a picture with if I saw out in public. They're people that I watched. Pat McAfee, ESPN. That's on my living room TV every single night.
That's gotta hurt that he's talking a bit that way.
It does, because I used to look up to these people, and now these same people are making me feel worthless.
Yeah.
And that I'm just a joke.
ESPN and Pat McAfee declined NBC News' request for comment. Cornett says she hit rock bottom when she realized her name would forever be linked to the rumor spread online.
I don't think that these boys realize what they're doing to people. It's awful. It's awful. And having your life ruined by people who have no idea who you are is the worst feeling in the world. It makes you feel so alone.
Cornett now wants justice. Her lawyer says she's been defamed and is a victim of cyberbullying.
The rumor is false. People promoted it without looking into it. You can't lie for money.
Are there laws that protect Mary Kate? Because it seems like the internet, social media, it's the wild, wild west.
To some degree, the law hasn't caught up with the speed at which a lie travels online and the fact that it's now kind of anchored to her name forever. But defamation exists. There's growing protections against cyberbullying. There's growing protections against, making fake pictures, which has also happened to Mary Kate. The legal regime is catching up.
For now, she says she's leaning on her friends and family, including her father.
I just wonder why. Why my daughter? She wasn't looking for any of this. She never asked for any attention.
You're right, Opie.
She's trying to be a freshman in college.
Instead, she's been tested like never before.
I have no idea how this started or why, but I do know that this has affected me in such an awful way and has practically ruined my life.
Yeah, what would you tell to that person?
Just that your actions have consequences, real consequences, that I will be living and facing for the rest of my life. That many other girls face things like this that will affect the rest of their lives.
Tom Yamas, NBC News.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the
Shut up,
NBC
Lester.
News app.
We started and ended with Lester tonight. That's how it worked. I got to tell Lester off twice. Oh my God, you guys are going to love this.
Good boy. Good boy.
They apparently found him injured,
That stuff. Okay. You got
malnourished.
Good boy.
Nursing him back to health.
This one has a lot of yucky paste. Yeah. But you did so good.
Oh.
This is just a little one. Good boy. That's good, bud. You did it. You ate all that.
Oh, I want to pet the kitty.
I'm gonna close this and get him some blood water. He's working on hydration. Hi, handsome. You did so good.
He's a handsome boy. Yeah, it's a cub. Let me see if it says how old it is. Five-month-old orphaned cougar cub. They found it emaciated and dehydrated. Now in the expert care at Northwest Trek. Rescued by the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. The cub is receiving round-the-clock veterinary attention. Making steady progress. Them eyes, how can you not fall in love? Good night, Lenny. Light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you hit the sack. YouTube people, Kick, podcast, all you other people.
Yucky paste.
Good night, Twitch people.
Good
We're gonna stick around.
boy.
We're gonna watch some
This one has a lot.
police